Ladies and gentlemen, parents, honored guests, staff, graduates, it's my pleasure to introduce tonight's guest speaker, Mr. Steven Pigozzo. Now, Steven was a student here from 1991 to 1996. I never had the pleasure of teaching Steven, but I was one of his football coaches. And I can still remember our 1995 season. I remember Steven was our quarterback. And you can all tell by the history of St. Charles College, we're always a good running team. But Steven was a big, tall kid. And you see he's a tall boy. He's a man now. And he had a big, strong right arm. He could throw a football. And that year, we were a well-balanced team. We were throwing the ball very well. And we were well on our way to winning a city championship. Until towards the end of the season, we were playing a game against Notre Dame. And Steven was hit out of bounds on a late hit, and he broke his wrist on his throwing arm. And unfortunately, we didn't win the championship. We would have won one that year, but anyways. He did come back and play a little bit, but that he played a full quarter on a broken wrist. That's good, Steven. Anyways, Steven left St. Charles and went to Wilfrid Laurier. He has worked as an actor and automotive consultant for well over a decade now. His passion for automotive sales, consulting, and acting has made him for an eclectic mix of jobs over the years. However, since 2011, he's remained a self-employed consultant, actor, and currently works closely with over 80 automotive retailers across Canada, has continued to work as an actor and promoting his award-winning short film called Committed-ish, in which a newish couple consumed by internet dating opportunities struggles to stay connected. I'd like to introduce our guest speaker, Mr. Steven Pigozzo.
Hello, and hello, graduates. Thank you very, very much for having me. First of all, I want to thank Sabrina Rocca and your principal, Patty Merdero, for allowing me to be speaking with you this evening. It really is an honor and a privilege. I would also like to thank the World Issues Club, the Student Advisory Council, the Breakfast Club, awesome film, the Athletic Club, and of course the houses of Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, and Slytherin. Thank you. Many people always thought I looked like Harry Potter in my school uniform, but that's what happens when burgundy and gray collide. You can take the kid out of St. Charles, but you can't take St. Charles out of the kid. Throughout my time at St. Charles, I learned a lot. Unfortunately, I didn't really realize what I learned until several years later. You see, everything you need to know about life, or everything you need in life to be successful, you're about to leave it here at this school. Your school is filled with people that care about you and your success, whether you believe it or not. They do their best to make sure you're prepared for life after SCC, all the nuisance papers, corrections, detentions, overall stuff they make you do, believe it or not, is for your own good, for your future. Here's a little secret. Not a lot of people like to admit it, and not a lot of people will tell you it, but it's a fact. When you leave St. Charles College, you will have no one in your life that cares like the community you're surrounded by right now. It's true. It's just a fact. Even your parents will stop caring after a few years, trust me. Within a few years of being in college, eventually they're going to be like, all right, time to go. Dad's going to be measuring the bedroom, trying to figure out if he can get a gymnasium or maybe even a distillery in there, believe me. Life, however, is all about choices. And choices you make come initially from your heart, deep down inside. And in my personal opinion, they're based on two main emotions. One is love, and one is fear. The results of these choices can be further defined by the fact that the greater the risk in the decision, the greater the reward from its results. This is a formula that most life choices in general make most of the time. Sometimes you get lucky, and every once in a while, with very, very little effort, you get this massive outcome. But much like buying a ticket to the lottery and winning $1 million, it doesn't happen that often, so don't rely on it. In my experience, it's nice to be important, but overall, it's more important to be nice. You see, believe it or not, you only have to do 3 things to excel in your choice of career. Just 3 things. You better write this down, jot it down on your notebook, record me. It's really tough to figure out. Be on time, do your job as instructed, perhaps a little bit more, maybe stay till 5:15. And 3, and most important, be nice to those around you, those you work with, and those you work for. Sounds crazy, I know, but it also sounds like a motto I've heard a long time ago. Goodness, discipline, and knowledge. Also, in my experience, there are 3 things that don't exist, but many people in the world will tell you they do, or insist that they do, or show you that they think they do. Those things are luck, multitasking, and hate. Let's start with luck. What's luck? Well, my favorite definition of luck, because it gets brought up a lot when I do my acting work and stuff like that, is it's the convergence of preparation and timing. The biggest part about luck, the lucky part, is the timing part. That part you can't plan for, that just happens. But the preparation part is the important one. Because whether I meet that director or run into that audition that's for that great series that's going to become something big, or you meet that person in your life that ends up finding you a job that makes you millions of dollars, you got to be prepared for the job, the audition, what have you. Multitasking, I can tell you, is an absolute certainty, doesn't exist. I work with a lot of people who think they can multitask, but they cannot multitask. When I started working with automotive retailers in the early 2000s, when smartphones weren't in everybody's hands and they weren't looking at them constantly, that meant I could get through a 2 or 3 hour startup meeting, which was like a way of getting to know everybody, telling them what we're going to do for the next few days, and so on. It was always uninterrupted. We got it done, and we carried on. Not anymore. I actually made a short film that kind of applies its sort of theory in the form of dating in 2018 on apps and all that sort of stuff, and how people are disconnected. It's called Committed-ish, and I've applied to many film festivals across Canada. I even won a couple of awards. Even applied to here in Cinefest, so just getting that out there, fingers crossed. Although the film's subject, it makes most people think it's about dating apps, it's actually not, it's about communication. And although today we're more connected than we've ever been as a society, right now, to this day, we're really very disconnected. It has nothing to do with millennials. Adults are just as disconnected. I work with them every day, and they won't put down their damn phone. Don't disconnect by being too connected to your phone, and believe me, you'll learn a lot more with your eyes up to the world than down at your phone. I know it works for me in virtually every aspect of life. I'm getting to hate. Hate actually doesn't exist. There's a lot of talk in our world today in politics and all that sort of stuff, a lot of rhetoric, a lot of hate. It's actually created in your own mind, and its mother is fear. Love and fear are really the only 2 things we use to choose anything in life. Fear is the first emotion that leads to a feeling of hate. Hate isn't an emotion, it's a feeling. There's a difference. It's a reaction, and it always leads you to decisions that work against your actual passions. Fear of missing out makes you hate the fact that your family exists, you gotta be home for dinner when you'd rather go out with your friends, and that sort of thing. As you carry on with life, fears will also lead you to safe choices. However, these choices, based in fear, are what led me to a career that I wasn't really happy with, and ultimately a life I wasn't all that happy with. You'll meet these types of people when you move into the working world, even as you move on into other areas of school, or maybe if you just decide to take a long-term vacation until you figure things out, you're going to find these people. Haters are easy to spot. They usually have negative things to say about everything, sports, especially other people, all kinds of stuff. Everything to them is seen through the eyes of fear, and fearful choices lead to results that never match your goals. You see, it all comes back to this, right here. Everything around you, your community here at St. Charles College. One that you really won't appreciate and understand for a few years. You just have to get some life experience, and then you'll know what I'm talking about. Over here you have mentors. They're all around you, and they were all around me. Bertoli, Bartolucci, Fabili, Marinelli. For some reason, they were all Italian. I have no idea why. What's going on? Thornton, Nelson, McDonald, there were some manja cakes in there too. They taught, yes, they taught. They taught very, very well. But moreover, they motivated and pushed me to be better than average. I wholeheartedly thank them for that. It was their passion and their love for what they did and whom they did it for that allows them to do what they do so well. Passion for what you do is what led me to be self-employed. For many years, the advice I was given from my friends and family seemed to make sense, or at least seem sensible. It took me a few years to realize that I wasn't a sensibly minded person. You see, for years I worked in a career where those around me insisted that I was not able to move forward in my career because I didn't fit into their mold of an employee. They mistook my love and passion for my 2 careers, consulting and acting, for disloyalty, for disagreement, for rebellion. Colin Powell would have called me a loyal dissident, actually. They could not see past my passion for getting things done right and going above and beyond to make things better. My mentors did, though. It took me a while to realize it, but my Zio, or my Uncle Moro, may he rest in peace, saw it, clear as day, told me I could do it, as did a friend of mine and former Cardinal, Matt Lalonde, as did Mark Dubé and Clint Burns not that long ago. The mentors you had here at St. Charles College won't be around with you in your life. So I highly suggest you find your own. They're out there, believe me. They're right in front of you. Just be sure to lift your eyes from your phone for long enough to see them. They're usually the ones looking you directly in the eye. What is a mentor? Well, I can tell you for an absolute fact, it won't be a member of your family, especially your immediate family, mom, dad, or sibling. Why? Well, they're also, you'll never find a mentor in Google or Siri, so that doesn't count either. A mentor is someone who will ask you questions and make you think about your choices. You see, a mentor can see your path clearer than you can see your own, mainly because they're not a loved one. Loved ones, as lovely as they are, they tend to want what's best for you and ultimately what's safest for you, whereas a mentor will challenge and question your actions so you can look within yourself to find the answers that best suit your loves and your passions. Passion is what keeps me going to TV and film auditions and plays and all that sort of stuff, like those here at the Sudbury Theatre Centre. Many people place a timeline on their passions. If I'm not going to be doing this by this age, then you know what, I'll quit. I'll just be done with it. The thing is, what's more important is the journey and not the destination. It's really tough to be passionate about the things that you love. A lot of times, the things that are passionate and the things that a lot of people love are really easy to like sports, hockey, or whatever. Things like LARPing. For those of the uninitiated, LARPing is called a live-action role play. Some people here at the school might have made fun of a friend who did it or whatnot. It's not the kind of role-playing you'd be worried about, but it's actually the kind of role-playing that you do when you get together with a bunch of people and you act out characters from film or television roles like Game of Thrones or Harry Potter or something like that. A lot of people would make fun of anyone doing that, but the funny thing is, if you really stop and look at it, there's a lot of people who get together with their favorite jersey of their favorite sport team and go on a field and pretend to play a sport. So it's all in how you look at it. Where will your passions and love come from? Well, faith, for one place. Faith in any form can assist you in life, as faith always emphasizes those things that you can't purchase. They're around you here now at SCC, but in life, you'll have to find them yourself. But don't be afraid to have faith. Faith of any kind. It keeps us grounded by giving us a place to go and a family to lean on. Faith is not popular at the moment. The world is beginning to believe it's unnecessary as our lives get easier and easier. My parents and their parents needed faith in their life. Life was much more difficult. You have your own difficulties, yes, and ones that I would never really want to enjoy. Definitely wouldn't want to be in high school with social media. I don't know how you did it. But the one thing that we do understand, and that's not to say you don't have your challenges, believe me, people my age are thankful that the only thing they had to tolerate in school was a physical bully. We couldn't do the easy way, unfortunately. Ultimately, the choices you make in the next few years will be the foundation for the rest of your life. No biggie. You will be on your own, yes, and no one will care, that's true. However, to make it through the gauntlet of life, you can follow a few simple rules. Again, they're rather familiar. Goodness, love what you do, be nice to those who you do it with, and especially for. Discipline, be on time, and do what's asked of you, and perhaps a little bit more. It helps to have a little faith in this department. And knowledge. It's true that it's all in who you know, I will admit. However, the most important thing by far is to know yourself. And even more importantly, love yourself. Your choices will be a lot clearer, but not necessarily easier from that point onward. And now, to make one final point, I'll ask the graduating class to look left and then look right. Wow, you all did it. That's awesome. All right, grab each other's hand. I know it's weird and probably don't like the person next to you. They probably annoyed you. They're probably not wearing enough deodorant, or they're probably wearing too much Axe deodorant, Sean. This was done the last time I had a commencement, which was a few years ago. And the point was made. You're going to have commencement. You're going to go to semi. Do you have semi-formal yet? The commencement or the grad? Did you do the semi? Prom, yeah. Tomorrow. Okay. All right. So, this happened to me. Teacher said, when you leave prom, you look around, those guys you bled with on the field, those people you loved at school, all that fun you had, there's going to be some people you will see again in about a decade. It's true. It's sad but true. So definitely enjoy it. Make the most of the next 48 hours, people, because the next 10 years go by really, really fast. You ready? Oikity choik! Oikity choik! Chow chow chee! Rickety